At the beginning of the Second Anglo-Afghan War, the British conquered the Afghan city of Jalalabad on December 4th, 1878, without a fight. The residents of Jalalabad city themselves showed no opposition or resistance. Therefore, the British began to roam the city relaxed. But on December 23rd, 1878, suddenly a Pashtun man attacked two British soldiers at the time when they were comfortably shopping in the city's bazaar. That Pashtun, with his dagger, one of those two, severely injured the Englishman. He, along with the one standing, also attacked the other Englishman. But meanwhile, other Englishmen standing in this bazaar, and Indian soldiers arrived, and they overpowered this Pashtun and arrested him alive. When the British did the investigation, it was found out that the Pashtun Ghazi who attacked them was not a local resident of Jalalabad city, but he had traveled from some village with the intention of jihad and come to the city so that he could attack a few soldiers of the British invader army, kill him, and die as a martyr while fighting. The British officers scolded their soldiers that they, instead of capturing this Pashtun Ghazi alive, should have killed him on the spot, now since he had been captured. Therefore, now he should be executed by a firing squad. Will be done. After executing, his body will be burned in fire. An English officer who was present on this occasion writes that this Pashtun Ghazi was taken outside the Peshawar gate of Jalalabad city, and there he was martyred with bullets. 5. Consisting of soldiers, the firing squad was supervised by Major Cavanaugh. This was the same Cavanaugh who later negotiated the Treaty of Gandamak, and as the representative of Britain in Kabul, was deployed, and on December 3rd, 1879, by rebel Afghan soldiers was killed. The aforementioned incidents. An English eyewitness claims that Jalalabad city's own residents for this Pashtun Ghazi had no sympathy, and they were saying that Ghazi is deserving of this punishment. But at the same time, that English eyewitness also admits that this Pashtun Ghazi faced his death with great bravery, and he died a hero's death. On this occasion, an English artist was present, and he depicted these scenes in his drawings. In this drawing it can be seen that the Indian soldiers of the British Army have picked up the body of the Afghan Ghazni warrior and are going to throw it into the bonfire. The British. This type of work was usually done by their Sikh soldiers. It was also shown in the drawing that the local residents of Jalalabad on the wall standing were watching this entire scene, although the aforementioned above British eyewitness was claiming that the people of Jalalabad had no sympathy for this Pashtun Ghazi. But I do not think that such desecration of the body of a fellow Muslim would be acceptable to them. In this drawing, a few Afghan tribesmen can also be seen who were supporting the British invading army. These were actually the men of an Afghan chief who was in the service of the British. The tradition of burning the bodies of Pashtun was started by the Sikhs. The Sikhs, their Pashtun Muslim enemies, like to burn alive, and if they got hold of the bodies of Pashtun, they would burn them to find satisfaction. After being defeated in 2 wars, the entire Sikh nation became loyal servants of the British, and Sikh men. They began to join the British army in droves. The British kept fueling the Sikhs' hatred against the Pashtun Muslims, and they allowed their Sikh soldiers to gain satisfaction by setting fire to a dead or wounded Pashtun. Furthermore, a Pashtun Mujahid's body, by their Sikh employees by burning it, the British themselves their own. Anger also used to vent. The British, most of all of these, Pashtun were fed up with, who, with the spirit of jihad, used to attack them. Naturally, the fact is that Pashtun, regarding the desecration of their martyred comrades' bodies, used to get very outraged. Therefore, setting fire to their bodies was part of the British vengeful spirit behind burning the body of a Pashtun Ghazi. The second objective of the British was so that his grave or shrine would not be made. Martyr's grave usually becomes a place of pilgrimage. Was the one who died as a martyr fighting against the British for next generations an example, and his grave inspiration could become a source of the third reason of the British. There was a misconception that Pashtun believe that if a Muslim's body is burned, they will be deprived of going to heaven. I do not think that Pashtun had any such belief. Common Pashtun were mostly illiterate and of Islam did not know about the nuances. But to guide about Islam, mullahs were present in every village, and these same mullahs used to preach jihad against the British. The British took this practice from the Sikhs. Was not kept restricted only to Pashtun, but they did the same thing with the bodies of Indian Mujahideen as well. After the 1857 War of Independence, they burned the bodies of Indian Muslim freedom fighters, and the Hindu freedom fighters buried the bodies of